Hey everybody, welcome back. HSC Podcast 97. Your Big Box Steve on the mic, Big Smooth, and Fresh Wes. And we are into conference championship week in the NFL. So a lot to talk about the divisional round. Lots of coaching moves happening around the NFL. A little bit of other sports, college football stuff happening, but right now, I think the focus is finishing up the NFL playoffs and getting closer to the Super Bowl. So, thanks for listening. If you're listening on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe and like. If you're on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, thanks for listening. Don't forget to comment. So, let's get into it. First, Super Bowl coming up. It's going to be exciting. Super Bowl every year. I was looking at the stat the other day. How many teams haven't won a Super Bowl?
Uh, Oh,
Not haven't played in a Super Bowl, because lots of teams
I know. Yeah.
played, but how many
Like
teams haven't
10.
actually won a Super Bowl?
Well, give me 3 minutes, I can figure it out. But I really haven't thought about it. I think isn't it like 8 or 9, something like that?
Well, I mean, you got all the expansion really. You got the Jags, the
It's hard.
Panthers, the Texans.
All you do is go through all the division. You have 8 divisions. Go through each one. It's simple. We could do it.
Right.
We could do it in 1 minute.
Bills.
Oh, they have. Yeah, Bills haven't. Uh, okay, AFC East is done because the rest of them won.
Yeah, Texans, Titans,
Jacksonville,
and
Denver,
Jags,
Titans. That's 4.
Browns,
Chargers. So
Bengals.
it's a 7. Oh, this is not even close.
It's a lot of AFC.
It's 7 in the AFC.
Cardinals, Vikings, Lions, Falcons,
11.
Panthers,
Yeah.
and that's it, right?
Yeah,
12.
isn't that crazy how high that number is?
That is pretty
Well,
high.
if you
12.
think about though, like what Browns, Texans, Panthers, Jack, you know what I mean? There's a bunch of ones that haven't been around as long as others, but yeah, like the Lions, the Vikings, Chargers.
Right.
12 teams. That's actually a lot for 57 Super Bowls, 58. Whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at that, and you always kind of think about the teams that haven't played in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But when you look at teams that haven't actually won, there's some teams that played in quite a few Super Bowls and haven't won.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I wanted Bills Lions, because then one of them would have.
Get a new Super Bowl champion in there. So that was interesting. Kind of just the stat I was looking at. And then I was also, as I was looking at all these teams, like there's only like, I don't know, 4 or 5 teams that have never played a Super Bowl and never lost. The only Super Bowls they played in, they won.
Oh, which teams are those? Just
Buccaneers.
Yeah, Bucks were 2-0, right? The Jets, I think, are 1-0.
1-0. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Baltimore?
Baltimore, right? They were
They're 2
1-0.
They're 2-0.
2-0.
Yeah. And then
I think there's only like 5 teams, 4 or 5 teams, but
shoot.
The
I can't even think who the other would be. It would be
was it the Saints?
well, Saints are 1-0. Yeah.
Yeah, so Saints were
Right.
another one, 1-0. There's a couple 1-0 teams.
what
Thinking of-
about well, I know they're not that anymore. The Commanders.
No, they lost. They lost to the Raiders.
Oh, right, duh.
Yeah. The
Marcus
best Super Bowl
Allen.
ever, dude.
I think there's one we're missing. I think there's 5. Because we got
Yeah,
you got the Jets, the Ravens, the Bucks, the
Did the
They have-
Rams make it in the seven? Did they lose in the
no,
70s?
they lost to the Steelers in 80.
80.
And they lost to the Patriots. Man, we should know this. Panthers. Seahawks. No. Ravens.
It might have been 4, but I think it was 5.
Well, it's no one from the AFC West, just the Ravens for the AFC Central or North.
Well, maybe it was
South.
only 4. Maybe
It
we're on a
probably is
false goal
24.
chase.
I can't think of a franchise that has not lost the Super Bowl when you think about it.
Did
It's
the
probably only
Colts?
4. No, the Colts lost to the Saints. The Colts would have been.
Oh no, they
but they
lost to the Jets too.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah, you go way back. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's only 4.
Yeah, it might have been just 4.
Well, let's see. So
Like that was like kind of a passing stat. I was looking at it. I was really looking at the teams that hadn't won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's gotta be. Oh, the Bears. The Bears.
Bears lost to the
Oh,
Colts.
the Bears lost. Oh, dude.
Yeah, Bears lost to the Colts.
Harsh.
Should have
Rex
been 2-0.
Grossman.
Should have been 2-0.
Harsh.
Yeah, that was brutal. Gloss too, because it's like it was 20 years since they've been to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And then now it's 20 years again since they lost the Super Bowl.
Well, did you
gotta
know
win
this though? The Cowboys haven't been to an NFC championship game since 1996.
No, well, that's the thing.
See, when you get there, you got to win, because look at there's what we just talked about, 12 teams that haven't even won one.
Yeah.
So you can't squander these opportunities, Buffalo.
Vikings.
Yeah.
It looked like Denver was going to be that way for a while too.
Yeah.
And they came back. So
the AFC West, you have 3 teams with 3 Super Bowls and then 1 with 0.
Yeah. Yeah, the Chargers are really holding that division back. But that's something we can talk about too here as we talk about the Chargers and coaches. And yeah, I haven't kept too much eye on. I don't know if you guys have been looking at the college football transfer portal much.
Well, it's such okay, so last week I said Will Rogers was leaving Washington. Now he changed his mind. He stayed.
Right.
So it's kind of like I'm not gonna until I see them on the field, I don't know where they're at.
Yeah,
Cam Ward.
it's crazy.
Cam Ward was in the portal, then Cam Ward was in the draft, and now Cam Ward's at Miami, right? It's like
yeah, I was wondering if you guys are seeing all these moves. It's like it's worse than like free agency and or the training camp stuff when guys are getting cut and things like that, because it's just like, oh, this person's going over here, these people are coming and going, and now they're like, first Ohio State's going to lose all these people, now Ohio State's going to get all these people, and it's
well, that's
crazy.
the thing. It's like that's why all the coaches are leaving.
Yeah,
don't want to deal with this.
It's too much chaos. Like, and you're allowing these college athletes to dictate everything. Like, oh, I just want to leave, and it's not much you could do about it. But God, it's like I get updates on my phone about the portal, and it's like 30 a day.
Yeah, and
these are big moves. These are like, hey, he's going to Air Force,
right? Because there's another 100 of those.
There's it's like, are you kidding me? Like, this is insanity. Why would you even want to be involved in any of this? Like, it's just stupid.
It's making a mess for sure. Like, I think this year and how this plays out is going to be maybe kind of an eye opener, around college football and NCAA to say, hey, we need to do something.
Well, I think they're gonna. This year is gonna be a complete mess. I think the next year they're gonna be like, we need to do something, and I think the year after they're gonna do something. They're gonna create another body, and they're gonna get the Sabins of the world and all these people to create another body to put a kibosh on this, because this is gonna get out of hand. It's already out of hand. Just stupid.
Well, yeah. Now and then you add in the money.
Yeah.
You're not going to have none of these players are going to have any perseverance whatsoever. Because it's like, oh, I got sent to second string because I wasn't catching the ball. Well, I'll go to another school now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to a different school.
Or you
It's
lose
like
your starting job, or like they bring in a better recruit. You
I'm
don't
not going
want
to try to work harder. I'm just going to go
right.
someplace else.
I don't want to compete for my job. I'll just go to another school.
That was like I was watching the documentary on Joe Montana, and he was like seventh string for Notre Dame.
Right.
He started off as seventh string.
Yeah.
And then if Tom Brady would have just been like, I'm just going to go to baseball
right.
because, I'm playing with Drew Henson. They're giving Drew Henson the starts over me.
Or I'm going to get drafted in the 6th round,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's definitely an effect. We'll see what kind of effect it has on some of the newer players coming into the NFL that transferred a lot, or were transfers and things like that. So you'll have a little bit of a test pool to kind of
What
look
about
at.
what about the guys that are like staying for 9 years? That's what I don't understand. Like, how do you actually
Just medical red shirt every year.
medical
Lots of
record
people
every
stay for 9 years. Yeah, they're called
All
doctors.
doctors. Um, isn't it? I don't know that there's a limit on medical red shirts, is there?
I think it's like 9 years.
Is it? Is that the max?
Well, because I don't know, what's Tua's brother tried to get another year, and then they said no.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go.
How many does Cam Rising have?
Oh, Kim right.
Well,
He's
his
got
is,
7.
yeah, this has got to be a 7th, right?
Gotta
Yeah.
be
So he's been around because I mean you get your normal eligibility, and then you get like your regular red shirt, and then you get like medical red shirt.
that's 6. And then you must get another one.
I think you get multiple
And
red
then you had
medical.
COVID.
COVID's
Yeah.
the next one.
Your COVID year.
That's bizarre.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. But I think it helps them a little bit to a point to stay a little longer for sure.
Yeah.
That's definitely missing in college in basketball, right? I mean, college
Yeah.
basketball needs that.
Well, obviously, if you're staying for 9 years, though, you better get your academics up because you ain't making it pro.
No.
Cam Rising will be an interesting one. You don't think he'll go pro?
Maybe.
Oh, I'm sure someone will pick him up. Free
Yeah.
agents.
Yeah.
Why not?
Whether he can make it out of training camp without getting cut. Maybe he'll be a practice squad guy.
I
Yeah.
don't know. I mean,
Yeah, so the transfers that's interesting as you talk about players, coming out. Caleb Williams, obviously, everybody thinks he's #1 overall pick. I mean, there's a transfer guy. Bo Nix, transfer guy.
Penix,
Penix,
Jaden Daniels.
almost all the quarterbacks are except Drake May, right?
Mm-hmm. But a lot of them, like Penix, Bo Nix, Jaden Daniels, they were all like, okay, so Jaden Daniels, it was the coach was fired. Paul, what a turmoil there. He wanted to go someplace new. Bo Nix, they didn't like him at all at Auburn, right? So he wanted to leave and be better somewhere. But like a lot of the other ones, like that you're having now, they're just like, oh, I played really well. Let's go here now.
Right.
Now I get like also we talked about last week what I can't remember his name, but the Alabama recruit, the quarterback. He's gone.
Stan went to Ohio State.
Yeah.
And he was one of the top quarterbacks coming out. And so
Right.
he went to Ohio, and that's a big pickup for Ohio State. That guy's pretty good. Started watching some high school tape on him. That's a steal for them. And that sucks for Alabama. But I mean, they still got their guy, but still, I mean, that's a big pickup for Ohio State.
But I get it. Like if I'm a recruit and I'm like, oh, I want to go play for Nick Saban, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. and I'm going to
And
play
then he's
for.
like, "Peace, I'm out." I'm like, "Screw
Right.
that.
Yeah.
And,
I'm going someplace else then."
it's like another thing that's annoying about, especially coaches now. It's like it's all about recruiting. I get it, but do you really have to go on the Pat McAfee show? Like DeBoer gets on the Pat McAfee show. It's like, do you think that really helps you recruiting, dude, by getting on the Pat McAfee show? And he's sitting there,
Pretty
and I'm
popular.
like,
I would, if I'm a recruit, if he goes, it's like the difference is Pat McAfee to me is like Arsenio Hall, where like going on ESPN is like going on Jay Leno or something, right? McAfee's the hip,
I don't know, fuck, dude.
and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. You're on like Stephen A's show. I don't care about that. But if you go on Pat McAfee, then you're like, oh, that guy's a little bit cooler.
Like Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers. Well, I think McAfee's just popular right now. He's kind of the it show. So people use it to, get reach audience.
Well, here's the thing. That
Well,
I
he's
think
untouchable.
that's
McAfee
another thing.
is.
And Saban went on his show too. I mean,
Oh yeah, there's tons of people.
But Saban did it, I think, because hey, dude, I'm giving everybody. I'm gonna be gone pretty soon. I'm actually gonna give people access. And it was interesting because you wanted to hear what he had to say. Because, okay, let me ask you a question. How did you win 6 national titles with Alabama? Help us out here. And it's like he's giving us insight. He's not like Aaron Rodgers, who just wants to be in front of the camera. Saban doesn't really like the camera. And the whole
Affleck thinks different.
Well, he's given his family's
TV.
getting
Just commercial money.
His family's getting like insurance for that.
He's not making he's not has like $700 million or anything that, oh no, I need to do this so I can get insurance.
Well, he's getting money.
Not for him. I'm talking about family.
Right. I think 700 million could get you pretty good insurance. You don't really need to go on commercials to get insurance.
Yeah. Well,
he's doing it for the money.
He's not a commercial whore like Travis Kelce. What's he on? He's on another Subway commercial. Like, I'm sitting there watching TV last night. I'm like, oh, he's on Subway now. He's on this. He's on that. He just wants the attention. Saban's not that good.
Okay, but Wes, your criteria for being able to do commercials, Travis Kelce can do commercials, you would say.
Can't do them all.
But here's the thing.
That's too many.
You've won 2, right? You won 2 championships here. Holmes has won 2. It's like, how many commercials are they doing here? A lot.
Well, Justin Herbert's doing commercials. That's who we need to go after.
When Peyton Manning won 1, he was doing like 4 commercials. These guys are doing a lot more than that. Like, it's getting ridiculous.
Well, you just don't watch TV. You don't have to see these guys.
Well, when you watch the games, that's when you watch TV.
Yeah, you see it all the time.
I mean, you watch the games and you're like, fuck. I mean, I was watching the Kansas City game with no sound. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Another Kansas City commercial? Another one? Like,
no, it's the Kelseys right now are also kind of the football stars of TV and media right now. I mean, you saw the Jason Kelce stuff.
His shirt off, like
he's every man. That's the thing, is he's up for what the what's it called, the
sexiest man alive.
Yeah, sexiest man alive.
Right.
He's a runner up, I guess.
Dude, come on.
Dude, he's a beast, man. Look at those pecs.
Well, what was funny is I was watching there, and they told the story of like his first date with his wife, and he got like so trashed that his friend had to carry him home. That was the first date.
Yeah, after he met his wife on Tinder.
What? Are you serious? No.
So one of those apps, I think it was Tinder. Some app.
What? All right. Well,
yeah.
All right. He's cooler in my book Jason now, Kelce, man.
Like, he met his wife on an app.
Oh my god.
But yeah, they're definitely the where all the media attention's going right now. So that's to be expected. Um, so finishing up this college coach or college thing, let's talk about Harbaugh. So Harbaugh, the official announcement, Harbaugh's going to the Chargers. I mean, obviously that's in your guys' division. What do you think about that?
Oh, I'm really excited. I'm stoked to have a great quote coach in our division. Another one who's, I don't know. Derek has more insight. Derek's really mad. I could tell.
Well, I mean, the thing is Harbaugh still has to deal with the Spanos, like one of the worst ownership groups in the NFL. And we saw what happened with the Niners. We'll see how long this partnership lasts. But to
Yeah,
say,
Harbaugh definitely wants to do things his way.
yeah, and I mean they should be good, right?
Mm-hmm.
We've been saying the Chargers should be good for like 10 years.
Well, here's the thing. Now you have a real defensive coach. Not what's his face. Like that guy's supposed to be a defense coach. Like their defense sucked. And they actually have tools on defense. And they're going to get better players in the draft. They're going to have a good defense. They should have a good defense. And if they don't have a good defense, why is Harbaugh even there? And also to help Herbert. If Herbert doesn't play better, and all this, that's another dude that needs to stop doing commercials. Like, why are you doing commercials? What? Because you have hair? Like, congratulations, you have hair. You really haven't done anything in the NFL, dude. You need to stop doing commercials and win a couple playoff games.
He does have nice hair.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of ridiculous. Like, now he should, if Herbert doesn't play better, that's on Harbaugh. Harbaugh is a quarterback coach. He should be able to fix. He should be able. He's not going to be the offensive coordinator, but he's going to help design the offense to make things easier for Herbert. Because I don't care what anybody says, Herbert lacks confidence.
Yeah.
He's not the most confident guy.
Well,
he's got all the ability. He just lacks the confidence.
He's not as accurate as you'd think. He misses a lot of throws.
He does.
If you watch tape on him, he's got a cannon for an arm, and he can make all the throws. He just misses a lot.
Yeah. What is it, Derek? Derek doesn't he have the most interceptions in the fourth quarter, like for a starting quarterback in the last couple of years?
Yeah, I think that was a stat. Yeah,
like 14. And last time I saw was 14.
But he hasn't played half the year. But
yeah,
the thing is the problem with the Chargers is their window kind of is closing. And you got a bunch of veterans and aging veterans that cost lots of money.
Yeah.
So you're going to be seeing some casualties. Keenan Allen's a free agent. Austin Eckler's gone. He's a free agent.
Right.
Mac is going to be like making $30 million. You can't have that.
Well, here's the thing. Also, is if Keenan Allen he's expendable at this point, and you have the fifth pick in the draft, and you're going to have one of the highest wide receiver. There's going to be a lot of receivers taken in the first round, I guess. But you got a doozy there. Like, I mean, that's just tempting for the Chargers to get a doozy because, yeah, Keenan Allen's getting old. Michael was always hurt. Like, they're going to have to get younger at the receiver position. And which sucks is I think the Bears would love a doozy. I think I wouldn't mind him either, but we need a quarterback. But still, he could go at 5 because the Chargers they're going to need to get younger at the receiver.
Yeah,
neighbors.
Their fault. Yeah. Their problem is they just took Johnson at 15.
Yeah, but then I think they might have realized that was a mistake.
Right, yeah. I know, but that's what I'm saying is how many times can you keep drafting? Sometimes you get gun shy.
That's Detroit. Remember when they kept drafting receivers?
Detroit.
Yeah,
Detroit.
At some point, yeah, you got to get a little gun shy and say, let's be a little safer with this pick. because Keenan Allen definitely is aging out, but if Mike Williams can play, you still got Palmer and you got Johnson. So it's not like you don't have receivers.
I was thinking for them, the perfect weapon for Herbert is Brock Bowers on
Right.
that
They
on
need
that
a tight end for
offense.
sure.
I mean, they had Gerald Everett. He's good, but isn't it
No.
always nice to have two?
Yeah, I mean, Everett he's not he's lazy, for a lack of a better term. He could be way better than he is if he was motivated and played to his potential. But he gets lazy. Like he takes plays off. He like he asks to go to the sideline when he gets tired, and it's like you don't see many star players doing that. So I think Everett needs to be replaced for sure. But do you draft Brock Bowers at 5?
No, that's just,
But you also could trade down with like the Falcons or somebody.
Right. So why does Harbaugh take this job then? Like, I mean, you start looking at this team, you're like, well, they're
It's
aging,
Herbert.
their window's short. You take it just for Herbert?
I mean, if you look at all the openings, Herbert's the only good quarterback, right?
yeah,
Only established, right?
yeah. There's this
And then like the media fawns over Herbert.
Yeah.
I guess. I mean, he does. Yes, he has the best arm in the group,
Well,
and
statistically, he's good too. I mean,
they have pieces on defense, and it's LA. It's it is also LA. That does factor into this. Like if it was him going, oh, you could go to New England or go to,
Atlanta.
Atlanta. Like he's like, no, I think I'll just go to LA.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got pieces, and they could make it work. They could get to the playoffs in a year, but yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like their chances uh in the long run here. I think in a couple years you might be struggling. But we'll
well,
see. I mean, you never know I mean, you look at I hate to bring Green Bay up, but you look at their draft in the last 2 years. I mean, they just put together a whole new team in 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so, if you do well in the draft, you can do that.
Yeah. How many receivers did they hit on in late rounds?
Right.
yeah,
Yeah. I
It's
mean, Dobbs
crazy.
and Reed and Watson and
yeah, they definitely have some I mean, set first and second year guys.
yeah. So I guess it doesn't matter, right? If you draft right, if you manage your personnel right, and you got a quarterback already established, then they do have good defensive players. Yeah, Max obviously eventually going to be a thorn in the salary, and he's going to age out, but he's still good right now.
Well, even there, Harbaugh. The one thing about Harbaugh, and I think other teams are going to try this too, is I think you just want to get younger on defense, and you want to get guys that are hungry, and they're not around that 5th-year option or
Yeah.
after it. You want to get young on defense, guys that fly through the ball. You want backups for backups, and you just want to do that. You don't really need superstars on defense. The days of superstars on defense, unless you get lucky and get one, those days to build a team, they want their superstars on offense. And
Yeah,
so
look, I mean, Kansas City's a great example of that. You look at last year, they won the Super Bowl with the youngest defense in the league, and that defense was the youngest. They just got a year older and a little better.
that's going to be the new blueprint.
They do have a superstar defensive tackle, though.
Right. Yeah, but
That's
you got one guy, that doesn't make a defense, but top to bottom, they're young.
Right.
You can afford one or two of those guys, and then just draft young, just get a
Defensive
young
line.
defensive
Defensive line seems to be the place for it too. Like you look at around the league, like the Nick Bosa's, the um what's your guys' name? I always forget his name.
Crosby, Watt,
Crosby.
Garrett,
Yeah. Crosby,
Miles Garrett.
Watt, Bosa. I mean, there's a lot of them. Mac was there for a while.
Aaron Donald.
Donald inside. So defensive line, I think, tends to be the place where people are wanting their stars.
Unless you're the Commanders and you waste Sweat and Chase Young and Deron Payne
Yeah.
and who's the other defensive tackle was great also. They had
Yeah, they
four
four.
awesome linemen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the other guy was Ig something. What was his
Well,
name?
there was him, but Iondonis, but it was
Yeah,
another
and
defensive.
yeah,
They have another defensive tackle that was good too.
yeah.
Um,
Well, Philly, they were trying to put themselves in that position with the defensive line.
right.
But I don't know that you get better than San Francisco's right now. I mean, geez.
Oh my gosh. Oh, Jonathan Allen.
Well,
Also,
yeah, that's
see,
right.
and then and what did they come? Oh my gosh. Don't even get me started on the Commanders.
Yeah, I mean, you really kind of threw away a great defensive line right there. Although I'm not sold on Chase Young.
Well, he is now on the what you were talking about. So look at this. Okay. The 49ers, and here's another one. They've kind of underachieved. When you look at this, Chase Young, Eric Armstead, Javon Hargrave, Nick Bosa, Javon Kinlaw, Randy Gregory,
Right.
Sebastian Joseph Day.
Yeah.
No, I was watching Gregory coming in, subbing for Chase Young. I thought Gregory was playing better. I'd play more Gregory than Chase Young.
Yeah, Chase Young, it's like you hardly even know he's on the field.
He was
Yep.
just he was late on a lot of his plays. He's getting pushed around a lot.
Yeah.
But I've been watching a few games of theirs this year, kind of waiting for him to break out, and he just hasn't. I mean, obviously he's getting pressure because you got double team on the Bosa side every time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll see how he works out. But yeah, San Francisco's hard. Their line's hard to beat. Um, so yeah, I guess Harbaugh got some rebuilding, or we'll see if they can come. If he comes in, makes an instant impact. I also think it's tough coming into that division because I think the Raiders are. I mean, we said this before, but they might be on their way back up again. Kansas City, is always going to be there. Seems like, and Denver, Sean Payton's going to make things happen eventually, right?
The division could turn back into a bloodbath
Yeah.
very quickly.
Well, considering the Raiders, how horrible it was early, they still ended the division 4-2.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely had a good run, and their defense looked a lot better. So if Pierce comes in and he's like defense first,
Well, they need a quarterback, and that's why they need to
desperately.
They need to trade up. They got to either that or they trade for Fields, but I don't know.
I
They
think
need to
yeah, they got to look at Daniels. I think Daniels is probably their best bet
yeah.
because you could get him later, right? You don't have to go all the way up to one, or
Shoot.
two.
The ESPN guru has Jaden Daniels going 3 to
Really,
the
1, 2, 3 for quarterback.
Yep.
Wow.
What could happen?
Which I guess when you look at the draft, like and needs, that makes sense, because what the teams at the top need are the quarterbacks. So
Obviously, everyone's listening to our podcast and listening to Wes talk about how bad Mac Jones is. Way to go, Wes. Now they're going to draft a quarterback.
now they're gonna go quarterback.
No, actually, he's not that bad. You should keep him. I think the Patriots could do well with him.
You can't walk back on Mac Jones now.
Oh,
uh I mean, so Patriots got to go quarterback, right?
Manders got to go quarterback.
Well,
you're not gonna give good old Sam another year, huh?
no. Well, you never know. They could. They could sit there and say, you know what? It's not like we're going to be good this next year anyway. Why not build it from the inside out? And then because I think some teams look at the quarterbacks and they're like, we like Caleb. He's a generational talent, kind of an idiot, but he's a generational talent. But I don't think anybody really is really sold on Drake May yet. And you keep going down the line, you go to Penix, and I think Washington might just sit on the sidelines another year and just build it from build the team from the inside out. You never know. Some of these teams can do that. They might not like Penix. Penix is not your prototypical quarterback. Nix is thought to be not that great. Drake May, you don't really know a lot about Drake May. You're going to find a lot about it in the combine, but still, they might just say, you know what, we'll draft another position of need.
Well, if I'm the Commanders, they're in the same situation as the Texans last year. I would trade out.
Yeah.
Because think about it. You've got the Eagles and the Cowboys aren't going anywhere, and you're not going to compete with them next year.
You're not competing. No.
So why don't you trade down, get more draft picks, then next year when like you have Shador Sanders or who else ever comes out that's like, oh, this is the guy.
No, the
You
quarterback.
go after them.
Yeah. It's not like this is the last year you'll ever get a quarterback. I mean, there's some nice quarterbacks, but you know what? They all have flaws. There's no sure thing anymore. Get more draft picks. They need a team. Their team is not good. They've unloaded a lot of their defense. They need draft picks. They need to build a team.
Well, they got draft picks coming for those guys, though.
Those are third rounders, weren't they?
Theirs is a second rounder.
Oh, was it? Oh, yeah, because they love giving second rounders.
Yeah. Yeah, they love giving them. But although I'm fine with that trade, though.
Yeah, that worked out.
Yeah.
A second for, Chase Claypool. Come on.
Yeah, that one was.
There was no hope for that to work out.
That's still kind of ridiculous to me because Claypool was never even that great.
No, it was a horrible trade. I don't even know what they were thinking. So, I mean, so let's say you do have that, though. I mean, that puts 4 or 5. So let's say 1 goes Bears, Caleb Williams, 2 goes Patriots, Drake May, and 3 goes Jaden Daniels to Washington.
Oh.
I mean, that puts a lot of good players out there for other teams over the next, 10 picks. Because you still got the top defensive guys. You got the top other positions besides quarterback, receivers, and tight ends. And
I think this will be the first year. I don't know, maybe not. But that I can recall, I think the top 10, it's all offensive players.
Yeah.
Because you got 3 quarterbacks, 3 receivers, 2 tackles.
Right.
Brock Bowers.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's hard to think, though. What's his name from Alabama doesn't sneak in there, that lineman.
Turner.
Yeah. Dallas Turner.
No, I think that's the group you've got. You got Dallas Turner, you've got Kool-Aid, you've got was it Luli Tuptu?
Yeah, the guy from UCLA.
Yeah. Those are what you're looking at. But it's like, do you want to take Dallas Turner? Because he's not Will Anderson.
Right.
Or do you want to take Malik Neighbors or Ndunze?
Right.
Or Alt or The guy from Penn State.
But Batashanu.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You might be right. It might be an all offensive top 10. So that'll be interesting. Closer we get, and you look at that, it's we kind of mentioned this earlier before we actually started the Bears drama just keeps growing, you know, and it's just getting wild with what people are talking about these trades and what they should do, what they shouldn't do, and man, it's gonna be a crazy offseason. But I was looking at one thing, they were talking about how you almost got to you want to make your decision on Justin Fields before the actual season ends. Because they were talking about, because there's some other like teams, if teams are interested in them, they have to do it before the season ends in some
Right.
cases. So if you want to get something for him, you might have to make that decision before the end of the Super Bowl.
Right.
So maybe they have to do that if that's the way they're going to go. Um, the one I guess the best argument I've heard so far was, do you want Fields? So let's say you keep Fields and you draft, even if you stay top, draft and you get Marvin Harrison Jr., right? You stay in the top 4 or 5. Do you want Fields throwing to Marvin Harrison Jr. and DJ Moore, or do you want to trade back or not trade back and then get Caleb Williams and then get Ndunze with your next pick and
That's
have Caleb Williams thrown to Ndunze and DJ?
that's kind of the trade-off there. That's the way I see it too. Is if you get Caleb, you can get a Duze. If you trade down, you could, yeah. It's basically, I mean,
But do you get your left tackle? Do you get Alt or
Right.
Fashanulo?
You don't in that
Your-
scenario, where in the third scenario is you trade back and you get Ndunze anyway, keep Fields. So you got Fields thrown to Ndunze and DJ Moore, and you add that tackle.
you get tackle.
Because yeah, I mean, I think it's right now. There's if you get past those two, you have J.C. Latham, and then the tackle from Oregon State.
Right.
Also, and then probably like the top 15.
No, ideally you want to be 8-9, I think.
Yeah.
So I mean this is gonna get more and more interesting, get close to the end of the season. Obviously, after the end of the season, maybe we'll have some things that shore up, and then it's just trade talks and things like that, get closer to the draft.
How about this? This scenario D. Keep Justin Fields, draft Marvin Harrison, and draft a Dunze.
Right. Yeah, just give them both.
And then you have a Dunze, Marvin Harrison Jr., and DJ Moore.
Right. I mean, technically their line's not that bad to where.
I mean, they don't need a good line. They'll just throw 30 screens a game.
Right.
Well, another thing is, at some point, I think teams might go that route anyways. Like, all right, I'm gonna draft someone in the top 5 that at any moment he has all this contact every play and he's getting hurt a lot. The chance of him getting hurt is a lot more higher than a receiver or a quarterback. So why am I drafting him top 5?
Well, that's why running backs aren't going,
Yeah. Like they just get hurt too often. Linemen get hurt all the time. And it's best just to build, you can get linemen later or through different channels. And
Yeah, you can't even tackle receivers anymore.
yeah, can't touch quarterbacks, can't tackle receivers, so they're gonna go top 10,
Yeah, so again, love the speculation on these, so we can talk about that all day, but there's games to be talked about. So let's talk about divisional games here. Well, obviously, one of the four is out, right? That we had. So Buffalo loses to Kansas City.
Yeah.
So that eliminates one of our four.
I think that's 2 of Wes's 4, right?
Yeah, so West is down 2 now. So we're down to 2 and 3, respectively. But I mean, when you look at this Buffalo Kansas City game, did you guys watch the whole game?
Yeah,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Unfortunately, I did. I wasn't
Yeah,
going.
it was I mean, there's so many mistakes by both teams, but Buffalo just likes shooting themselves in the foot. Obviously the field goal miss at the end. I mean, they should have tied it. We should have another overtime game.
Mistakes, drop passes.
Yeah, Sherfield drop, Diggs's drop.
Yeah.
But what you can't really take it away from Kansas City. Like they keep doing it every year. And it's every year you're like, well, they don't have the firepower anymore. They don't have the defensive players. It's all these things, and yet they keep winning.
Yeah. You do
So
enough.
you got at some point give them some credit. I think Buffalo really blew their chance there because they were playing so well towards the end of the year. So they had a lot of momentum in these playoffs.
It's injuries. I mean,
Yeah, the injuries mounted up. There's only so much they could. Losing Gabe Davis didn't help because he didn't have. They just rolled up on Diggs, and they're like everybody else beat Kincaid can beat us. Everybody else can beat us, and they did a good job on Cook, the running game. They really secured that. They weren't going to let Cook beat them. It just kind of ran out of options. It's all about Josh Allen running. Josh Allen could have ran more and they might have won the game.
He was
But he
running
ran
every other
enough.
play.
He ran enough. I mean,
Yeah.
he had 80 yards rushing. I mean, how many more yards is he going to run for?
Well,
I mean,
they were in the backfield a lot. You see how many times Cook got hit, just their
yeah,
running backs got hit in the backfield.
because
Like,
they keep
let them get 3 yards of pressure.
because they were smart. They said Cook could be the different. Cook could kill us. If Cook gets off on us, we're done. They're going to beat us. They're going to roll over us because it's going to open every. They decided, you know what? Our main focus, let's take out Cook, and they did. That was smart. Defensively, strategically, that was smart to take out Cook.
I don't know. Me watching the game, they didn't really stop the running game at all. The Chiefs.
Well, they didn't stop Allen, but they didn't let Cook get off so much.
Johnson. I mean, between Cook and Johnson, they had 101 yards.
Yeah, but
and then you put in Josh Allen, that's 173 yards rushing they gave up.
Yeah.
Now, Josh Allen only had 186 yards passing.
Right.
Because he couldn't throw the ball. And Diggs, I mean, let's see if it shows how many drops there were in this game.
A lot of his running yards were scramble yards, though.
Yeah.
It was just nobody was open and he had to move.
But Diggs, 3 catches, 21 yards.
Right. Well, what was killing them on the run game was they kept getting it into like long 2nd and 13s. It's like they try to run on first down. Now you're in 2nd and 12, and then you go 3
They
and out.
weren't imaginative. It was like, let's always run on first down.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
so
they're predictable when
all
they're
the time.
running the ball.
They got yards, but like there was so many times that they had negative rush plays though that hurts your game plan overall because now down and distance matters in how you now run the ball. So now they know you're going to throw it. So what are they doing? Now they're keying Diggs, and Josh Allen has to run the ball again and scramble, and then they just got stuck into that game plan all game. So that really, I mean, it really was. It didn't look like their offense was comfortable to me all game. It didn't look like they weren't running their normal offense. It was a lot of scrambling. It was a lot of like, even like the Shakir touchdown, that's lucky to get that touchdown. You get him coming back to the ball, making a great catch, falling out of bounds, and that's not they didn't draw that up. So they just didn't look comfortable with me, and I think probably that says a lot for Steve Spagnuolo's game plan. He really had a good game plan for how they wanted to play defense. Although, Kansas City, I still feel like they kind of scraped by. They just barely got by again. Just doing enough to win, really.
Well, and the big thing is what's happened all year is Kelsey hasn't been Kelsey, right? And he's Mahomes' best and only target, really. So what happened this game? Kelsey was Kelsey.
Right.
Oh, they win. He had 6 targets, caught 5 of them, 75 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah. Yeah, you look at, I feel like Rasheen Rice is playing better for them. You've seen him in the last few games,
Yeah.
later part of the year, showing up a little bit. So that's helpful, I think, for Kelsey, to have someone else that is catching the ball. But it sounds like Pacheco didn't practice today, so that might be a problem for them.
He's been nursing. He'll play. He's been nursing stuff. He's been on the injury report for like 3 or 4 weeks now.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see how they go forward. Packers 49ers game was interesting. You always have a little bit of rust when you're coming off of a bye week. Baltimore had it too. San Francisco had it, but I don't feel like San Francisco really shook it off all game. Like they just looked rusty the whole game. Packers should have won that game.
The Packers kind of screwed that game up. They lost Debo and they look shook. They look, all right, what do we do? Or we'll give it to McCaffrey. And McCaffrey played well, but that almost wasn't enough because the Packers, they let a lot of through those 2 interceptions that killed them. Jordan Love reverts to being Jordan Love. And you're just like, what are you doing, dude? Like, you let the ball get away from them, and it's just like they had the Niners on the ropes in the third quarter, and they kind of screwed up in areas. They had a couple picks. Purdy was throwing the ball all over the place. They had a pick 6. Savage dropped.
Yeah,
right in the chest. That was a pick 6. That was over.
That was right at the beginning of the game too.
Yeah, it was beginning of the game, but a couple other passes, they couldn't capitalize on it, and it's Purdy's not going to play like that the whole game. The wet ball was bothering him. You could tell he dropped back and starts wiping his hand on his leg before he throws the ball. He had a glove on in the first drive. He took the glove off. He obviously doesn't like playing with the wet ball. I knew that was going to be a factor, that it was going to be wet, it was going to be ugly, messy. I just thought they would win by a little bit more than 3 points, but they scraped by. They're lucky to win that game. And Jordan Love, what's annoying to me in the last drive is it almost seems like that, they expected to be up by more. They're down by 3, and they got frustrated, and they said, we're either going to win it here or we're going to lose it here. We're not going to take it to overtime. Really? Tell that to Tom Brady. Tell that. You know how many times in divisional or conference championship games where road teams won an overtime game? 13 to 9 times the road teams won. Not the home team, the road team. And it's like the Packers and the Bucks are the same way. It's like, well, we lost. We either win or we lose. It's like, come on, dude. The road teams won more in these games than the home team.
Yeah.
And it's like Jordan Love got impatient. throwing across his body like that. Like, what are you doing?
Into triple coverage.
And the triple coverage. And then, after the game, it's like you look at him and he's like, oh, whatever. It's like, no, dude, you don't get very many opportunities like this. It's like,
Yeah.
that's it.
Well, I mean,
it was a bad look.
Packers, we just talked about their draft earlier. They look like they might be coming up in the next couple of years, so maybe they do get a couple more chances. But
yeah,
I mean, they missed a field goal also, so they really they had a chance to win or be in that game. So I guess what does that say about the 49ers?
I think that's where I'm going with this is, in the middle of the year and everything, everyone's like, Brock Purdy, MVP. Maybe we need to take a step back for Brock Purdy, because if he doesn't have every single weapon that he has, he's not very good. One player, Deebo Samuel's not there.
Yeah.
Totally different game.
It did.
You take Mark Andrews away from Lamar Jackson, he's still Lamar Jackson. And with Purdy, it's like he needs every single person out there to succeed.
Yeah. And but here's the thing. You want to talk about MVP. What did they do when they lost Deebo? You could tell Purdy's shook. The offense is shook. Okay, let's throw it to Kittle. Kittle's Kittle, but they can't just rely on him the whole game. It was McCaffrey. They rode McCaffrey to that win. He gritted, and McCaffrey was not healthy in that game. He's banged up, his calf, his leg, and he's still running as hard as he's running, just bawling, dude. So credit to him. Like that was a man's game right there in the weather.
Yeah, Green Bay was playing better than they were, right? Than they are.
Yeah.
They played better than they are against Dallas. They played better than they are against the 49ers. So credit has to go there, right? To them for that game. It's Purdy's definitely made He makes mistakes. You can see that too. Like there's a couple passes should have been intercepted. He's throwing it in the wrong spots. He missed a couple reads, and so is he, an elite quarterback? I don't know. I mean, that still remains to be seen. The guy's still barely in his 2 years. So, but if he goes to a Super Bowl and wins a Super Bowl, that's going to do a lot for his confidence coming into the next few years. And so when you play, in a lower level and you get drafted late, he's got confidence issues. You're not coming out the number one overall pick. You're not the guy.
And he's not playing with house money anymore. He's not surprising anybody like he did last year. Everyone's ready for it. It's not like a guy coming out of nowhere and he's like, it's almost like Jordan Love was playing. He's playing with house money. Like they don't expect anything from us. We're going to get beat by Dallas. That's not Purdy. Everyone's like, you know what? These are his weaknesses. Let's exploit them. And that's what they're starting to do. And it doesn't, like I said, they don't even know if that Debo's going to play this week. And so the pressure's starting to mount on him.
Well, there was
versus Lamar, where everyone's like questioning Lamar, when are you going to win a Super Bowl? When are you going to win? When you get to the Super Bowl?
Right.
That's not, it's he's already had the pressure.
There was a problem though with their San Francisco's play calling as well. I was watching a lot of that replay, and their safeties were just cheating up. They could have thrown it over the top, especially to Kittle, all game. Kittle could have had 200 yards receiving.
I know. That's why he got so
like,
open on that one touchdown. He's so open.
It was like that all game, and you're just like, what are you guys doing? Like, isn't there somebody up in the booth like looking at this?
Yeah.
Like who's out there making these calls? So there was a problem with San Francisco's offensive play calling that game too. So, but they get the win. They move forward. Detroit and Tampa. Tampa played them tougher than I thought. I thought Detroit would have handled that game pretty easily.
Watching it, it was a close game, but it never felt like it.
Right.
You know what I mean? It always felt like Detroit was going to win.
They were in control, but the score was close.
Yeah.
I mean, the Bucks are scrappy. I mean, Baker's scrappy. It's just there's a ceiling and they hit it. It wasn't quite good enough to win that game. And I think Detroit wasn't playing that great first 3 quarters anyways. They were playing well enough to get by, but still win the game.
Yeah, I thought wasn't it weird that they didn't call a timeout at the end of the game?
Well, that's what people have been talking about the last 2 days. And so I didn't have any sound. I was just watching. It was loud. And so I was like, I didn't realize it till the next day. And I started scratching my head. I go, why wouldn't you call timeout? And then what did Bowles say after in the
Well, because
postgame?
they would have kicked the field goal, right? And they would have went up. But it's like, why not try to block the field goal? Like, what I mean,
or he misses the field goal.
or he misses the field goal,
Yeah.
or whatever. Like, you still got time. There was like 30 seconds or something left, right? And they didn't call the timeout.
They said
Dan Campbell would have done a fake field goal.
Yeah, Campbell would have went out there and kicked it himself. No, but I just didn't understand it. Like, why not call the timeout? Like, you just gave up.
Don't ever leave timeouts out there when you're losing. Right.
That's the same thing I said. It's like, oh, well, I guess they can miss it, but then we have to go down, score a touchdown, get the 2-point conversion, and then go into overtime. But we'll lose because we're on the road.
Yeah.
It's almost how ridiculous. But you know what is funny is I started thinking back during the season and college football too. It's like, play for the win now. Go for 2. You don't want to go into overtime. It's like, what are you talking about here? Like, why not go into overtime? You're the underdog. You're not supposed to be here. No one expected you to be here. Like the Packers, you're not supposed to be here either. Why not go into overtime?
Yeah.
It's going to put all the pressure on the home team. They're supposed to win. And historically, home teams have done worse in overtime than away teams. So it's just, I don't understand it.
Yeah, it just seemed weird. I couldn't. I was trying to think about in my head, like what's going through Bowles' mind.
I don't know. What he said I forgot what he exactly said, but it was idiotic.
He was trying to protect Baker Mayfield because he knew Baker would go out there,
throw an interception. I don't know if you know Annie Agar. She's hilarious. The videos that she does. She says she does the imitation of Todd Bowles. He's like, well, I'm just gonna save this timeout for next year. I was like cracking up. I was like, because I mean, really, you don't get to keep it, man. You don't get to use it again later.
I don't understand it.
It was weird, but you're right. I mean, Detroit felt like they were going to win the game. They controlled most of the game. Tampa had a couple chances, though. I mean, Baker turned a little bit into Baker in a couple throws and turned the ball over, and that didn't help them. But Detroit, definitely played their game. So they looked like they were going to win from the beginning.
I feel like Baker is Gardner Minshew. They'll make magical plays, but they'll only get you as far as you can, and then they'll make dumb plays.
Yeah. Yeah, that's he's just a little better version of Uncle Rico. Slightly, not much.
Wes, can he do commercials again?
No, he didn't win the Super Bowl.
He did. He made it to the divisional round. That doesn't quite qualify for commercial. But then again, Justin Herbert can't even make it to the playoffs. So.
Yeah, he's doing some way.
Here's my thing. Do we ever see Lamar Jackson in any commercials?
That is actually a great point.
I can't think of many.
I can't even think of the Lamar Jackson commercial. Maybe we should just stop talking now so he doesn't start doing commercials here.
That he's
Actually,
gotta he's
I
gotta
mean,
have commercials. I mean, he's gotta have something.
he doesn't need commercials, man. He just runs in the tunnel. That's all he needs to do.
I'm sure he's done a commercial here and there.
I don't know. I can't think of one. I don't know,
he's
man.
got Gatorade, so maybe he's been in a Gatorade commercial.
Yeah, he's gotta. I couldn't imagine him not like especially if you're with Gatorade, right? Isn't that like part of the contract?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm looking. It looks like the last commercial I see was for Oakley, and that was 2 years ago. Maybe he learned from Wes, and he's like, I haven't won a Super Bowl yet. I better
Yeah, I
stop
can't be in
this.
commercials. Or maybe it's because he was doing all this contract negotiations. He was
Yeah.
going commercialless. Speaking of Lamar, let's talk last game, Ravens Texans. Um, that game kind of went how, we talked about is it was close early. Texans even had a chance to have a lead going into halftime, missed the field goal.
But was it really that close?
No,
I mean, they
they
were
were
tied. So yeah.
Okay, but what did CJ Stroud do?
Yeah.
being do
No,
And
I mean, obviously, yeah, they gotta, but even either way, it's not like they let Baltimore score 21 points. They held them to 10.
yeah.
but who said that Baltimore would win by over 10 points?
Yeah, I mean they eventually covered, right? But the thing was is that the game was close through halftime, and then just like was suspected, Baltimore would regain their steam and finish the game off, finish strong, where the Texans would then falter.
But I mean, the Texans never really showed up. They got a punt return for a touchdown.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Well, and the field they like I said, they would have been winning 13-10 at half. They would have missed the field goal.
Right.
Well, I mean, yeah, the punt return, yeah, they got a score there. Besides that, they didn't score a touchdown. Um, Baltimore's defense is impressive. To shut down Houston like that, it's like they're everywhere. Like it doesn't matter where they Houston tried to go. It's like there's always guys around. And
I mean, it's good
so
to have really fast, good linebackers.
Yeah, right. Who wants Roquan Smith? That's dumb.
yeah, Rokon Guai, yeah. I
Well,
mean,
what was I think thought more impressive was Houston's defense was doing a solid job in the first half. And then the adjustments that Baltimore made to come out in the second half and put up that many points, and then just make those changes was pretty impressive because it didn't look like they were going to do a whole lot offensively because they were getting a good amount of pressure. Lamar
Well,
looked out of
and
sorts on a few plays.
Baltimore listened to Wes. In the second half, you know what they did? What Wes has been saying all year, what Baltimore needs to do? Run the ball
Right.
with the Ravens. Lamar Jackson, 100 yards. Hill, 66 yards. Edwards, 40 yards.
by committee.
I mean, Hill was averaging 5 yards a carry, Edwards, 4 yards a carry. Then they even have the greatest receiving running back of all time. Sprinkled him in at the end.
Dude, he looks fast. He looks like his old self again. I was like,
Looks
Jesus.
like, yeah, well, now he's got a chance to
What's
win a
in
Super
your
Bowl.
Wheaties, man? What's in your
Yeah,
Wheaties?
he was it's called a Super Bowl ring.
Oh, jeez. Dude, that's a weapon. I don't
Yeah.
care. He could be their third running back. That's a pretty darn good third running back.
Yeah, it is.
Well, here's the other thing when we talk about injuries and stuff. Okay. J.K. Dobbins out for the season. Okay, we'll just go with this guy. Oh, and then we have Keaton Mitchell out for the season.
Yeah.
Well, we're just going to rotate a million different running backs. It doesn't matter.
It's because they don't have any good ones. They don't have any bad ones. They're just all mediocre.
They're like, oh, Mark Andrews, that's okay. We'll bring in Isaiah Likely.
Yeah. Just get nine average running backs and just let them get hurt. So that leaves the matchup. Let's start there. Okay, we got the conference championships, Baltimore, KC, and San Francisco, Detroit, right? So obviously, our picks, we already have Baltimore, San Francisco winning these games. But now that we've seen them play out, what do these games look like? How do these games play out? Let's start with Baltimore, KC. So it's obviously in Baltimore, them being the 1 seed, coming off this Texans game, coming off the KC Buffalo game. How does this game play out? What do you guys see here?
So it's gonna be a warm front. It's gonna be 43 degrees.
It's gonna be hot.
I think it's I think this is gonna play over like you said the Texans game was. It's gonna be close early, and then Baltimore's just gonna run the ball, and their defense is gonna bottleneck the Chiefs. The Chiefs' main weakness on defense is the running game, stopping the run. That's what the Ravens do best. And what better way to cover Kelsey than Roquan Smith or Patrick Queen, right?
Right.
Or Kyle Hamilton.
Yeah, Kyle Hamilton did a job too. So
Well, I think the best way to cover Kelsey is to keep him off the field.
Hit him in the
You know.
knees.
No, just run the ball a lot, right? Control the ball,
Yeah.
and keep their offense off the field as much as you can. Although you look at Baltimore's defense, they're kind of set up for a team like Kansas City. They've got they still got decent DBs, but they really are good at that mid-range, mid-level defense.
Yeah.
So what does Kansas City need to do to win the game? Like, can Kansas City win this game? What do they need to do?
Stop Lamar and then run with Pachenko.
Yeah, Pachenko's health has something to do with it as well. I think Pachenko, if he has a big game, it's going to cause problems for the Ravens. And, well, on the flip side, the Ravens want to win this game. They can't allow Patrick Mahomes to run around and do it and improvise.
Right.
They need to use their linebackers. They got to use schemes or spying. They want to box him in. You can't let him run around like he's been running around in these playoff games. He's ran all over the Dolphins. He was running around last week. I mean, you can't allow him to do that. They need to get him to go backwards, not forwards, and throw the ball. They can do that, they're going to win the game easily. If not, it's going to be a game. And now, as Pachenko, I think Pachenko can have a big game. But if I'm Baltimore, he runs like he doesn't. Pachenko runs like he doesn't care about his life. He runs that recklessly. But when you do that, you expose the football. I would be tackling the football in that game.
Yeah.
You want to get some turnovers. Patrick Mahomes, it's hard to get turnovers on Patrick Mahomes in this time of year. Get it by going after the football, whether it's Pachenko or Rice or their limited wide receiver abilities. Get the ball, because turnovers might be the difference in the game. Besides, this could be an awful close game, and I don't. If I'm on the other side of Patrick Mahomes, I don't want it to be a close game, because Patrick Mahomes usually wins close games, and the other team doesn't.
Well, I don't see a scenario where, unless Kansas City gets turnovers, they can't go back and forth with Baltimore, because Baltimore is going to get stops on them.
No.
So you don't want to play that game you played with the Bills.
Well, and then to go off Wes's points with turnovers, Baltimore's #1 in the league in turnover differential, plus 13. The Chiefs, 28th in the league, -11.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're gonna need to get turnovers to win the game for sure. Yeah, and again, I don't see a scenario where they can go back and forth, because, like I said, Baltimore will come up with stops, and then I don't think the Chiefs can afford to have their defense trying to go back and forth stopping them.
Yeah. It's best just to blow. It's best to just beat them down early. So
Yeah, you don't want them hanging around in the game because
no.
that's like the worst thing you can do is let Patrick Mahomes stay in the game.
No. They should win by 2 touchdowns, the Ravens.
What's the spread on this game?
3.5.
3.5.
3.5.
I mean, I still take the Ravens to cover that.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're pre-playoff pick for me to go to the Super Bowl, so I got to stay with them. At home, I think they gain a lot of momentum in the second half. They, kind of dusted off any rust they had from the bye week in that first half, and then the second half they've got rolling. And I think that'll continue for them. I think they cover probably 7 to 10 points. So that's my prediction.
I hope so.
Yeah, I think we all hope so.
Well, if we're all picking the Ravens, you know what that means.
Just
Ravens
like last week.
Yeah.
I mean, on paper, the Ravens should win, but the Ravens have choked every year in the playoffs.
Right.
Yeah.
But maybe this is the year they pull
Maybe
the
this is the
young.
year.
They get the
Yeah.
monkey off the back.
I think
Super Bowl.
you need a lot of Zay Flowers. I think you need Zay Flowers early. I think Likely has been a great weapon.
Yeah.
He could cause problems for KC, And what about Odell Beckham? Come on. I mean,
and I think Andrews is going to be back this week.
Yeah, Andrews should be playing. So you got 2 capable tight ends, Bateman, obviously, and Beckham and Flowers. So, you got plenty of weapons out there.
And that's if he has to throw the
Gus
ball.
Edwards, Justice Hill, the greatest receiving running back of all time, Dalvin Cook, and the greatest running quarterback of all time, Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, I mean, they've got enough. So, on paper, it definitely looks like they win this game. But it's Kansas City, so.
Well, here's what Lamar needs to do is if he goes back to pass, don't force anything, just run the ball if you can.
Yeah, right. Just tuck it.
Because then, they're going to have like Nick Bolton or someone be a spy.
Yeah.
So then that takes coverage away from someone else.
Yeah, it is.
I think the Ravens got to play smart football. I think if they don't turn the ball over and the opposite, they easily win, right? Where Kansas City needs them to turn the ball over to win the game.
Mm.
So that's where we come. I think we come out in that game. Of the 2 games, I think this would be my more confident pick in Baltimore winning this game. So let's jump over to Detroit, Kansas, or San Francisco. So in San Francisco, obviously them being the 1 seed. This will be the first time Detroit's on the road, right? So they've been at home the first 2 games. So now they go to San Francisco.
It's going to be tame compared to last week. It's going to be 69 degrees and no rain.
Right. Which is probably good for San Francisco.
Well, it's really good for Detroit.
Yeah, they're definitely not used to any elements, right? They like that, but yeah, it was kind of funny. I was listening to them talk about the reporter asked Jared Goff. He's like, so how is it, your weapons compared to all of their great weapons, and he's like, what are you talking about? And he's like, well, they got, first team, they got this great receiver. And he's like, they're like, you got St. Brown. He's like, St. Brown was first team all pro, right? It's just funny listening to him get a little defensive about the quality of their skill players versus the quality of San Francisco's skill players.
They actually match up pretty well, Ed. I mean, you got St. Brown is probably the best receiver out of all these, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you look at
Ayuk is good. Debo's a receiver, but I could it's hard to categorize Debo, right? Laporta, I know he's younger, but Laporta and Kittle, that's both formable. McCaffrey, Montgomery, and Gibbs.
Well, yeah, they got. I mean, Detroit's got a two-headed monster.
yeah, they have two pretty
Yeah,
good running backs.
you can't really put Debo in that category, even though that Gibbs can be a Debo, and I think Gibbs is going to have to be a Debo to win this game. They're going to have to get the ball to Gibbs throwing the football.
Get
I
him in
think
space
you
for
need-
sure.
They need Gibbs needs to be Debo for them because I think they're going to try to lock up their receivers. Getting the ball to Diggs is going to open up St. Brown's. Hell, it might even open up the deep passing game. It's going to open up Porter. Gibbs is a key. I think they're going to do everything they can to stop Montgomery. They're going to go after, they're going to like, we do not want them running on us. So we're going to make Jared Goff drop back 50 times and beat us. And he's going to make a mistake. And that's what they're banking on. Or we're going to get to him. We're going to get to him with Bosa.
Well,
You don't
Green
want
Bay had a
Montgomery-
little bit of success running the ball. I mean,
Jones had 100 yards.
Jones definitely, but he had a 50-yarder too, so that helps your average. But
Yeah.
I mean, still they had some success running the ball, right? And so Detroit, you can't get away from that run game. You gotta pound the ball a little bit.
Because it's going to take the pressure off of Goff.
Yeah, what you don't want is him dropping back and getting pressured, and because that's when he cracks a little bit.
He does. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. I didn't think of this. They only Gibbs and Montgomery only ran the ball 19 times against the Buccaneers.
Right. They were talking about that. They're like, what do you need to do? We need to run the ball. So what'd you do? We threw the ball a bunch.
Yeah, Goff threw it 43 times.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's too many.
Well, and that's why I think that hurts you against San Francisco because you drop back that many times, they're gonna get to you, right? They're too good on the defensive line. And then once they start getting to Goff, he will make mistakes. He'll make bad decisions. He'll force the ball. He'll let the ball go too quickly. So they have to force the run. I think when Wes talked about Gibbs, that you got to get him the ball in space, right? You got to get him the ball where he's not getting tackled right away, where he has a chance to make some moves or use his speed. Whether it be like angle routes or flares or Texas routes, anything like that, to get him some space to move with the ball.
Well, yeah, I think the key is Jamison Williams.
Yeah, he
needs to get some deep passes.
Yeah, you got to stretch the field.
And the thing is, they haven't really done that a lot in the first couple playoff games. And I had this feeling like you're going to have to do this to be a team like the Niners. You can't do these crossing routes the whole game against the Niners. It's nice. St. Brown has 1,500 yards. That's great. You need a couple plays from Jameson going down the field, stretching the field, and Goff connecting.
Well, Laporta's been good about that for them, running those corners, those deep corners.
Oh, and you know who they just picked up?
Right. Bringing in good old Zach Ertz.
Zach Ertz. And you know what?
That's kind of funny. Like, why? I mean, I get it. He's good, but
well,
it's a little late in the game.
Well, their tight end right, the one he had a big catch, 29-yarder against the Bucks. He's hurt. He's out. But it's good. I mean, because that way you can run two tight end sets. Ertz, okay, just go over the middle and get open, right? Yeah. And then Laporta, that way he can do The deep
Yeah. You
runs.
want Laporta stretching the field too, is what you want. Yeah, they're gonna need. Yeah, they definitely gonna need to stretch out that defense a little bit. You got to run the ball. You have to have success on third down as well. They have to convert because they're not going to get a lot of big plays. I don't think. Sure, they got to stretch the field, but I don't see them hitting for a lot of home run plays. So you got to be able to convert on third down and keep drives alive. So I mean, I would look at what's their third down conversion at the end of the game. That'll matter. So what does San Francisco got to do to win this game? They got to run the ball, obviously. Hopefully for them, Debo plays.
Yeah. Purdy can't make any mistakes. It's one where it's like Purdy just needs to be the point guard
Right.
and let his guys do their things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Detroit's defense has been better, but I think, yeah, if Purdy can play pretty mistake-free football, I don't know that Detroit can stop him without, some mistakes, right? Because if he just gets on time with his routes and they run the ball like they can,
Yeah.
I don't know that Detroit's defense is solid enough to really stop them throughout the game.
Although, Hutchinson has been playing lights out the last month and a half.
Yeah, he's gonna have to put some pressure on him. And, I mean, who's he gonna be lining up against Trent Williams now?
Can move him around.
Yeah, you're gonna have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough. So I say San Francisco, I think their key is just stay within their game, run the ball, good reads from Purdy, no bad throws. It still looks like, obviously it's championship game, so it can go any way, but it still looks like San Francisco has the leg up. If Debo's not 100% healthy, I think that hurts them a lot, or not a lot, but enough that it kind of evens out a little more. I still think San Francisco's defense is a lot more solid for a game like this. I think they're more set to play better defense than Detroit is.
Not so fast, Steve. Not so fast. Detroit is built to beat San Francisco. And here's why. We talk about all the defensive linemen that 49ers have, but they're not run stoppers. And so that's where Detroit has the advantage. They're going to pound the ball. And I don't think Debo's playing, and the 49ers offense isn't the same without him. And I don't trust Kyle Shanahan in big games. What has he done in big games?
Well, he lost his quarterback last year, so that's tough. Both quarterbacks.
Okay, what did he do against when they lost to the Packers, right? Oh, wait, no, they beat the Packers. Never mind.
Yeah, they went to. I mean, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say I don't trust him. I don't think Campbell's any more set to be a better coach in this game. I don't think coaching is going to be the difference.
Coaching's always the difference in the playoffs, Steve.
I think
It's
this
all
really
about adjustments, everything that happens in the second half. I mean,
well, yeah. They said they're going to run the ball a lot last week too. And they threw the ball 43 times.
right.
So they got to stick to that. You're right. Like if they throw the ball too many times, they're going to get themselves in trouble. So we'll see what they call this week. They can call it a little better. But my pick's still San Francisco. That's what I picked at the beginning of this game. So I'm staying there. They're at home. They're in better weather.
Yep, I'm picking
Unfortunately,
Ravens Lions as the Super Bowl.
so you gotta stick with the Lions. Who did you have, Wes? You had 49ers, right?
I had
Yeah.
49ers before, but I'm taking the Lions now.
Oh, you're flipping to the Lions. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. I'm gonna stick with the Niners. It's a tough one though. I won't be surprised the Lions win, but I don't know. Take the Niners by 5.
Yeah, what's the spread on this one?
7.
7.
Yeah.
That might be hard to cover,
Yeah.
considering the way last week went. I don't know, yeah. I mean, it's so hard because, if Detroit plays the right game, it should be a close game, right? But like I said, I could see them. They're still relatively inexperienced. It's
They're just playing. I don't think they played particularly great in these playoff games.
well, no, they haven't because they barely beat the Rams, and they
I think they could play better, and they might play better. They play better, they'll beat the Niners. I think they can beat the Niners. I just, how many more times are the Niners going to just sit there and, how many more times do they have here? I mean, it's kind of it's going to be whoever loses this game is going to be heartbroken. Either or. I want Detroit to win. But are the Niners really going to lay down like that and lose this game? Is the defense going to let them lose this game?
right.
That's another thing. There's a lot of pride in that organization, especially on that defense. I think Detroit. I think there's a lot of people that are in Vegas. They're like, I'm going to put my money on Detroit. And that it's not a bad bet. But are they really? I mean, that's just go in to beat the Niners like that. That's a big win.
Right, at home.
It would be awesome to see. I want to see Detroit in the Super Bowl.
Well,
I don't know if we want to see Ravens Detroit again, though.
Well, no, it will be a different game than that. No, that was a blip. That was a blip. That was just like, hey, we just didn't know what was going on here. But
yeah, so Detroit has a pretty good run defense. So that's you gotta well, I guess that's just in the playoffs though, but
I mean, it's funny, like they were saying, Detroit, like all the draft experts were giving them a C minus or worse for their draft.
oh yeah. They racked on their draft. I go, look, this Gibbs thing is gonna work out. I mean, it's gonna work out in the end.
well, Gibbs, don't be wrong, I like Gibbs, but they did really well other places. You talk about Brian Branch, you talk about Laporta,
Campbell.
Campbell.
We had 4 starters out of this draft.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. So here's it. Detroit has to stop the run, right? Number one, you got to shut down McCaffrey somehow.
Yeah.
If you can't shut down McCaffrey, you're in trouble. And then you have to control the ball on your side of the ball. And Goff can't make mistakes. You got to keep him out on time, right? He can't drop back, hold the ball, because he holds the ball, they're going to get to him.
And then, the bad luck of the Niners, too. Debo might not play or he won't be 100%. We don't know how well McCaffrey will be either.
Yeah, you don't know. I mean, McCaffrey, he'll play through it if he has to, though.
Right. But adrenaline gets you so far, but sometimes it is wasn't it the hip?
Yeah, they'll be in the halftime giving him the shot in the hip.
Right.
They'll be like, man, McCaffrey can barely move. He comes out of halftime like, wow, look him, he's jumping around like a gazelle.
Well, then Campbell at halftime will be bite his hip.
Bite his kneecaps.
Bite his kneecaps. So, I mean, it should be a good game. I don't know. I'm 7. Man,
That's a lot.
I don't know if they'll cover that. I think they'll. I'm going to take them to cover.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it'll be a good game. here's the way I think the game's going to go. I think it's going to be a real good game all the way up to the fourth quarter, and I think Goff's going to fall apart. That's what I think is going to happen. Goff's going to fall apart in the fourth quarter.
I think they're just going to beat up on Goff. He's going to fumble the ball.
Just remember, who's actually been to a Super Bowl as a quarterback?
Yeah. Yeah, but you'd never tell by watching the guy play.
Yeah, but he's done it. So you can't be like, oh, is too much pressure on it. He's already been there.
No, I don't. I mean, well, he's got pressure for different reasons, but I think their team as general, they're very inexperienced as a team.
That's probably why they don't. When you're so inexperienced, it's like you don't. It doesn't matter. Yeah, there's nothing there. It's all house money.
You don't know any better. And then Goff, I think the most pressure was that first playoff game.
Yeah.
And then the second one, there was a little bit of pressure there because you're playing the Bucks. You got to beat the Bucks. And now I think there might be a little bit less pressure until he really feels it from both.
This is a different kind of pressure. Yeah, this kind of pressure is the pressure of your head hitting the ground.
Yeah, that's a different type of pressure.
But you're talking about Aiden Hutchinson with Trent Williams. Well, Detroit's got Penei Sewell, who's probably arguably the best tackle in the NFL right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but San Francisco doesn't have just one guy rushing, though, is the thing. They have a really good line. We talked about that earlier. So it's tough. And like I said, you have to, as a coach or an OC, you have to make sure that you keep him out of those situations. You got to get the ball to his hands quick. You got to make sure he's got multiple options to get rid of the ball. You can't run a lot of single and two route trees. Like you gotta put a lot of guys in the options. You should have Gibbs or out in the flat somewhere for a outlet almost every time. All right, well, Wes, you going San Francisco to cover or not?
Not to cover, but win.
Not to cover. And Derek's going Detroit.
Yep.
They're one shining moment.
Yep.
One tiny moment.
Well, I need it to be Baltimore, San Francisco, because
then you win.
then it's when I'm right.
Just can't be Kansas City and anybody.
It's gonna Kansas City, Detroit.
I just can't handle. Yeah, they were showing the graphic. It's been Kansas City, Denver, or Patriots the last 10 years.
Right.
AFC. I can't handle that anymore.
Dude, the Lions go to the Super Bowl. I want to get the freaking Lions parka from that Eddie Murphy wore in Beverly Hills Cop.
All right.
That is money. I wish I could find that. Like, how much is it? $500? I don't care. $500. That is just money. I love that. Just rock that. I'll go to Vegas and rock that.
Right.
You can get it on Amazon.
Oh no.
For $100.
$100.
There we go. I'll wear that in Vegas.
Well, you gotta wear it for the Super Bowl if the Lions play.
Yeah.
I think this is I'll send it to you guys.
Any other thoughts or predictions or anything else for this weekend's games?
Yeah, much. I'm ready for it. The last weekend was taxing. So,
well, all the games kind of went for the most part, like we thought. Except the Kansas City Buffalo game.
I had a bad feeling about the Kansas City game. Late. I was like,
I picked for the upset, so it sucks.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's because it was definitely the most likely for sure.
I feel bad because it wasn't Josh Allen. He did everything he could.
Yeah, no, he played well.
Yeah, and think about Josh, and you hear everybody Monday morning quarterbacking Josh Allen. It's like he played. It sucks with Josh is because he plays the game like a kid. He's out there and he plays the game like we would all want to play. We play when we're kids. He's running around, he's doing whatever he wants because he has that type of ability, right? And to lose like that. And he kind of took it okay. I mean, but that's a tough one to swallow for
Well,
him.
he's getting it though, and he's going to get it all
Yeah.
the off season. They're going to be talking about, look, you've been here this many years, and you haven't done it, and you guys keep losing, and you have so many turnovers, and he's going to get it both barrels all off season.
What was funny is there's a huge X war. People are getting after Marcus Spears because he was like, you put Josh Allen on the 49ers and they're runaway favorites. And everyone's like, no, Allen's not that good.
No, you don't have to be that good. Like,
Yeah, it's I don't. It's not like Allen plays on a bad team though. Like he's got
No,
weapons.
he has nobody on defense right now, though. Everyone's
Yeah,
hurt.
defensively, it's a struggle for them.
Like 3/4 of their defensive backfield was out.
Right.
And their head coach called a stupid fake punt.
That was such a bad call. They got lucky. They got the ball right back though.
That's the other thing. Okay. I am tired of all these people being like, we need to get rid of the stupid rule of the fumble in the end zone. No, you don't. Stop.
Did you hear Ryan Clark's explanation for it?
No, I don't want to know.
It was actually pretty funny because what's that guy's name? Sam Kellerman or I don't remember who he's with, but he was saying like he's one saying like it's a stupid rule that 6 inches before the line, if you fumble, you get the ball and you get to keep it. But 6 inches after the line, if you fumble, it goes touchback to the other team. And Ryan Clark's like, look, he's like, it's like the doors of church. He's like, you could be mean to everybody, you can cuss and swear and everything like that, but as soon as you walk up to the doors of church, you walk in, it's Saint Mary, it's Hail Mary. You're saved. You can't do anything right and wrong. He's like, that's what the end zone is. It's the door to church. And he's like, and if you fumble past it, you lose it. It was pretty funny. I was like, that's funny because
Well,
he's
yeah, I
like,
mean, it's the same thing as like, oh, like a safety, right? Should that be a, well, then that shouldn't count because you're getting tackled in the end zone.
right, just a touchback for the defense. No, I mean I don't mind the rule. Like that's fine. Like that's the way it is. It's like that's the end zone.
I mean, it's like we've taken enough away from defenses. Now you're going to try and take that away from them?
Right. No, I don't think that there's any reason, but there's been a
Well, it's
lot of
because it happened to the
controversy around it.
Chiefs. We have to
Yeah,
look at
it's
it.
because it happened to the Chiefs. Because Taylor Swift brought it up.
Just like the overtime rule. Oh, well, it was, the Chiefs game. So we got to look at this. Like, stop.
Oh man. All right, well, we'll wrap it up there. Big games coming up. We'll see who I think Wes, we got the same pick, so we both got Baltimore, San Francisco. So Derek's the only outlier with the Baltimore, Detroit picks. And we all just hope Kansas City loses. So
That's all I care about. I mean, if it's 49ers, oh well, but
that's
as
the
long
wrap.
as it's not the Chiefs,
As long as it's not the Chiefs.
then I could just relax and watch the Super Bowl and not really
Right.
care.
Oh, you imagine if it's the Chiefs in the Super Bowl had the Taylor Swift mania.
Chiefs, Lions,
Oh man.
Taylor Swift, Eminem.
Yeah. Look, Wes is going Eminem already.
Yeah.
No, I don't know if I could handle Taylor Swift in the Super Bowl.
Well, we'll see. We'll find out if this is rigged.
It might be. It might be scripted.
Watch it will be one of the it will be the Kansas City will be kicking a field goal to win the game and it will be missed and all of a sudden there will be a flag.
Right.
don't do it.
You know they love the drama. The NFL's all about drama these days. They're writing it in as much as they can. All right, everybody. Well, thanks for listening. If you're still listening out there, don't forget to subscribe and like. Appreciate the listens on Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts. Anything you want to hear next week, let us know. After the Super Bowl, keep in mind we'll still have some sports, but yeah, any comments for top fives? If you listened last year, we like to do movies and all kinds of things. So comments are appreciated. And we'll catch y'all next time.